Okay, I'm going to read the chairperson's statement, which is this meeting is being recorded by the Community Preservation Committee. If any other persons present are doing the same, you must notify the chairperson at this time. Okay, seeing none, we'll move on. Okay, I'd like to call roll call of the members. Becky? Here. Donna?
Here.
Wisty?
Here.
Garth is not here. Terry?
Here.
Victor's not here. Travis? 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 Yeah, we see you. We see you. Okay, Jack?
Here.
Okay. All right, we have a quorum. Okay, first thing on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from February 11th. Do I have any discussion about those minutes?
No. I move that we approve those minutes as written.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Seconded.
Second, okay. I will call any discussion. Okay, I will then call the roll. Becky?
Yes.
Donna?
Abstain.
Wisty?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Travis? I can't hear you, Travis. Okay, thumbs up. Jack?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. Okay, so the minutes have been approved. Are there any members of the public here who are not going to be speaking or would not be interested in speaking in relation to a specific proposal? Okay, that being said, we will not go through public comment then, and we will start with discussion on the community outreach and development plan for 2026. Okay, I don't know whether Jack or Becky want to present this.
Well, Jack and I did it together. And if you're not yet received it, our plan is to be very specific and targeted in some of the outreach this spring. And we wanted to create a poster board that would be indicative of all the work and the projects that we have already completed, so that people could really get a good sense of what the CPC funds and what they have funded in the past. And then we would arrange for 3 separate meetings that were very targeted towards the 3 areas that we focus on, and really do a good job of getting a hold of people that are interested in those areas so that we can have a real audience. No offense to the 2 gentlemen that are here, but it would be great to have 30 people in the room instead of 2. So we're hoping that if we really make some effort towards targeting the organizations and people that have interest in these areas, that we'll be able to educate the public further on what the CPC is doing and what we would like to be doing. So Jack, do you have any additional comments to that?
No, I'll just say thank you, Becky. You really summed it up. I think the most critical piece to talk about for this meeting is that we are hoping to do the board with a QR code to generate feedback on current plans prior to the board voting, and so getting the public survey back, and then at a later meeting, I think item number or goal or action item number 2 and 3 we can dive into more. But we just wanted the entire board to know that we think more targeted action is what we need to do to not only increase feedback for the applications that are currently being reviewed by the committee, but then to try to target new people and really specifically go after folks that may be interested in becoming applicants in the future. And that's where item 2 and 3 go to. So thank you, Becky. I think you did a great job
Yeah, the one
summarizing
thing-
what we talked about.
Thanks. The one thing I would add is that I do recognize that that board creation puts some additional pressure on our staff because I'm not sure how we're going to get that done. We do have an opportunity to present this board at the March 7th, this coming Saturday's winter market at the library. And so if we have something at least ready and at least with the QR code prepared so that people can log in and give feedback, that would be really helpful. But I haven't had a chance to talk to Anna about what that might look like for her. So I wanted that to go on the record that I recognize it's a lot of work. We're here to help, but some of it will fall on you.
Yeah, is the board something you guys have a design or a mock-up that you're already thinking about? I do have the survey ready to go for this year's projects, and there is a QR code. So we can certainly print that out. And I think the budget is already there administratively to print a poster board at Copycat or what have you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think Anna, I can help a little bit with that. And so
Okay.
maybe perhaps we could collaborate a little bit if you're able to get me the code. But I also think we were hoping to send an email to applicants, which I think you would need to do, asking if they have any photos related to their proposal, and then, that we could incorporate into the board so that people walking up can see. I think I could do a great job of doing a quick summary of what, the amount was and what the ask was to CPC. But if they had any photos they could share, I'm thinking about 2 weeks ago with the scanner for the
Yeah.
clerk, like a photo like that, I think is enough. And then I know for, RDI has a mock-up already of 176 Main Street. So if we could get that, something like that would be helpful if you could email.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, any other questions around this plan? From any of the,
One other thing is that it does require making sure that we start scheduling now for space at the library in May and June, which are popular months for the bigger rooms there. So scheduling those rooms is something we have to really think about doing quickly.
okay, Donna?
I just want to say that I think that this plan is great, and thank you both very much. I really like the way it's, the further levels are focused on raising awareness of what CPC is. I think that that's something that, we have grown in our awareness over the past few years, and I think that we're in a much better place to be able to explain to people what it is. And I think that all of the ideas are great. So I'm happy to help in terms of being present at an event if that's helpful. I also think that in addition to photos of current projects that are under review, it would be nice to have some images of what's been done to further help people sort of see what CPC is and has done. So those are my comments, and thank you both very much for this.
Other comments from folks? Seeing none, I think we might need to have a vote on this. Does that make sense? Because it is a plan that we're going to be following. So I would welcome a motion.
I can make a motion to follow the action plan created by two of the members, in addition to allowing up to $75 of printing for the March 7th event. And then also encouraging other committee members to attend the 7th event. That's my motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? I would like to thank you both for the amount of work and thought that went into this. Really appreciate it. And I'm looking forward to seeing that we have more presence in the community as a result. Okay, seeing no further discussion, I will bring this to a vote. Okay, Becky,
Approve, yes.
Donna,
Yes.
Wisty,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Travis? Travis, you're muted. Okay, thank you. Jack?
Yes.
And I'm a yes, and we will start moving this forward. Thank you all very, very much. Okay, and now we move on to application review. Museum of our Industrial Heritage. If you are here, why don't you come up so that we can give you microphones and
They also have props.
oh, they have props. Okay. Okay. Let me just say that we're not asking you for a major presentation, but rather we have having questions, but these are great. This is great to see.
So do we need to review what the proposal is, or you all understand?
No, I think we're just going to ask you questions now.
Okay.
Can folks see that? Can folks who are online see the,
Maybe if you put it,
yeah,
There you go.
yeah.
So these are
Both-
examples of the paintings, two of them.
Okay, so can folks online see them?
Yeah,
Yes.
as long as we move those first few chairs, I think it's great.
Okay. And if anyone wants to get up and take a look, any of the members who are here. And then Donna, we'll get to you in a second.
Can I ask a question while we're waiting?
You can do that.
I looked at these online. They're fascinating, and it's a really interesting project. I'm curious to know whether the public would have an opportunity to see these during this process, or if they're interested, is there a place that they can go and see them before they get preserved?
Yes.
Right.
Unfortunately, at this time, we really don't have a space to show them all. I mean, we have them at the museum. If someone wanted to come and observe them, certainly could be arranged. And I just want to point out that the ultimate goal is to have these live somewhere public so that they could be on display all the time. We're out of room at the museum. We're out of exhibit space. We're out of parking. We actually are looking to expand and maybe move. So we don't have the room for these, and they should be seen by everybody. I don't know, maybe I suppose there's possibility of doing a temporary exhibit somewhere if we could get, or
Rotate them through somewhere.
yeah, or rotate them. But again, also they need restoration. So the best, wouldn't be good to move them around a lot.
Right. Mhm.
You can
We-
see some of them have damage. You can see this one has got some.
We've had them looked at by professional art conservative company.
Mhm.
And so that's where we got the estimates. They're in pretty good shape for being as old as they are. Some of them must be 100 years old. But they're not, they need to be, their stretchers need to be reestablished. They're not really properly hung right in the frames right now and everything. So,
Do we know the
Okay.
artists for each of them?
Yes.
Yeah, you know.
there's
Yeah, they-
two different artists, and they were both well-known commercial artists. Some of their works are quite pricey at this point. No.
I'd like to give Donna's had her hand up. Donna, you're muted.
Thanks. You have a very well-written proposal, and I think it lays out what you want to do quite clearly. I note that 2 of the paintings belong to the Historical Society, and you indicate that you're hoping that they would have theirs included in the process. So I'm assuming that if that happens, the historical societies would then be on display at the Historical Society, correct?
I'm sorry, say, what was the last part of the question?
So if the so your whole grant proposal includes the historical societies too?
No,
Okay,
No,
so
no,
the,
we
so,
made them aware of what we're
Okay.
doing. It's up to them to do what they want with those. I mean, they could include these, you know, it would be more money. Because those are
so,
not, the price isn't included, though, those 2.
so since the time that you wrote your grant proposal, has there been any conversation with them about including them sort of wholesale in this project? Because I think it would be great if they could all get preserved, and if there's any sort
Yes.
of efficiency that could come of that, I think that
Right.
that would be a really strong point. So that I thank you for clarifying that. That was my
Yeah.
question.
Yeah, they know there's an opportunity to do that now. I kept them appraised of what we're doing, so.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so anyway, the main thing is, the wonderful thing is that all the paintings in this collection are here. They're safe, and, you know, so a lot of things get lost very easily like this. So we're very lucky that they have those 2 and we have the rest of them. And I'd like to see them all shown together sometime because they are chronological. They tell a story of this company. Greenfield Tap and Die, absolutely, you know, is really what it's about, the history. So, but the priority now is to preserve them. You know, that's one of our main missions. So, it's a shame that they would be sitting in a box in storage. So, you know, once we get them restored, we'll start looking at how do we find a place to show these. And, yeah, so.
Thank you. And any other questions or comments? Travis, do you have anything? I'm just trying to make sure you can communicate with us.
Is my audio working now?
Yay.
All right. I had to call in and blah blah blah. No, I didn't have any comments right now, but thanks for confirming that my audio is working.
Thank you. Anyone else with any questions?
I was curious about how you selected this vendor, Green Mountain, and was there any place more local? I think these guys are out of Vermont. I'm just curious. I'm sure this is a very specialized.
Yes, well, where I started was one of the tenants in the building where the museum is, Frank Gregory, he's a well-known artist and conservator himself. And he recommended this person. This person actually works for the Clark Museum doing restorations and everything. So I took his word for it as a reference. If there was someone more local, I think he would have, indicated that, but,
Did you
Um,
talk to somebody in Deerfield?
so.
And do we know if this is a competitive price?
Uh, that's a good question. It would have been nice to have another person, quote. But I'm just doing some research, do some research on what it takes to, restore an oil painting on canvas. And it's like, $1 a square inch or something like that, or $2. And that's pretty close to what these came in as. So that's the only thing I had to go by. And, it's all kind of a new thing to me, but, we got to meet this person. She came down and looked at every painting, spent a couple hours.
We paid for them,
Yeah, we paid to have that done, a fee to have that done. And so, that's where we're at. It's the only person I know, even that local, that, originally we were thinking maybe that the Clark Museum, there's a company over there that does this, also. But this person that came and looked at it, she actually works for them. So, I would think this is probably a correct price for these.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Other questions? Anyone here? Okay. Then I think the one big thing that we need to look at is that that we have a limited amount of funds this time.
Sure.
And you did mention that you could do this over several years if necessary.
Well, that would be a second choice.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we would come back and, reapply every year. And
Mhm.
I mean, yeah, that would be a acceptable second choice. Okay.
Thank you. We know it's not your first choice,
Yeah.
but we're
Yeah.
trying to figure this out and we'll be
Sure.
doing this
Yeah,
as we go
sure.
along. But thank you.
Okay.
Any other questions for folks from the museum? Okay, seeing none. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
And we appreciate this. And if we do have something else that comes up later, we will get
Okay,
in touch
great.
with you. Thank
And,
you very much.
Everybody, you're all invited to come to the museum anytime. Okay, there's a lot more interesting things to see there and learn.
Thank you.
Well,
Okay.
we also have the little machine shop that we restored
Oh,
with our
yeah.
last
Mhm.
funding. And pictures don't do it justice. You have to see it run.
Right.
So.
And it's been hugely popular. It really put another feather in our cap. People really come to see this thing. And it's a very unique piece of history. So thanks again for that funding. And we hope we can continue to do things like that.
Well, thank
Thank
you
you.
for coming in and explaining these things to us. We appreciate
Okay,
it.
you're welcome.
He's not here, so let's see if he shows up.
Yeah.
Thank you. We'll give you a chance to take care of these.
Not until they're hanging in my living room.
Depicts John Grant, who came to Greenfield with a patent for the early running dies. So that's sort of the first in the series.
Wow. Excellent. Okay, we do not have anyone here from Spike Segundo, so we're going to move on to the Miller's Meadow project. Is there anyone online who would like to be the major spokesperson at this point, or do you just want to kind of popcorn as we ask questions? And looking at Jessica, Athena.
Athena, she probably didn't expect to have to go.
Right.
Hi, this is Jessica.
I'd spoken with Athena earlier and she had, I believe she's on, yeah, she's online and
I'm
had,
online. Hang on a minute. Sorry. Up, there we go. Sorry, I wasn't ready yet. I
It's okay.
anticipated going last.
It's okay. What we're going to do is we will ask you questions. You don't have to do a presentation for
Yep.
us, and we'll move forward. Okay, so with that, we are looking at the creating opportunities for recreation and improving habitat at Miller's Meadow. And we have any questions from members of the committee? I'm looking at faces that are very serious, but don't seem to be animated about this. Any questions?
Well, so I have a question. Am I accurate in thinking that really the amount of your request will pay for, Chris, I think his name is, who will be doing the herbicide and who will be, it's mainly for his role, right?
Yes, and we can scale back because I understand that you all have over $400,000 extra asked for. So what we would do is a bottom line of eradication and remove and spraying herbicides on the vetch, which is the primary. There are several invasive plant species in various places around the Miller's Meadow part. But what we really need to deal with is the vetch, which is crowding out the recently planted trees that we've been planting over the past year and a half. And that's so that would be about $6,000 would be our minimum. But yes, the other parts of the proposal were also to eliminate and removal of other invasive species along the river area, and then to create the viewing area for the fishing area and a picnicking area and a viewing area, and then also at other parts of the meadow. And there's, yeah.
And those other parts, they wouldn't be involving the herbicide, the spraying?
Yeah, there would be some spraying along different areas of the whole project area that we proposed. And then it would be a lot of hand removal as well. So it'd be a combination of herbicide spraying and hand removal. And I know there was a concern about the herbicide use. And so we, and it is allowed in Greenfield. It's under the Massachusetts regulations through their agricultural program. And Chris is a registered, certified applicator. So he is legally allowed to use it, and he's very accomplished at it. And then we've also been working with the Conservation Commission, and under their advisement and requirements, we would develop an invasive species management plan. And then we would also, since the whole area is a floodplain, and that's 200 feet of the riverbank, we will also be required to submit a notice of intent application. So we are prepared to do that. And the Concom would also like us to do an annual report on the invasive species management and success of our invasive species removal and current conditions once we get all of that done and replant it. And then we need to also clearly identify the fishing area in relationship to the riverbank and the proximity to the river, so that because the designated fishing area shouldn't be near the bank or cause any erosion concerns, because we know there's also some concerns along the river. So we would work with Concom and make sure that once we remove the area for the fishing area and viewing area, if we're funded for that, we would work with Concom on that for the location, the actual location. We did map it out, but we want to make sure we work with the Concom on that. And then finally, we still have to deal with FEMA. And so if we're awarded funding to expand the project and also do invasive species removal, we need to reach out to FEMA. Hopefully we can find someone to talk with about our deed because Eric wasn't sure how to get a hold of those people at this juncture because it's been quite a while since we've had the deed. And then the other question that we have on that is we'd love to get some benches in there, whether we get them grant funded or we build them from some other sources. And so our question is, we were looking at non-permanent ones, but I understand that the CPA doesn't allow, the only wants permanent ones, which actually after we talked about it and thought about it, it makes sense to have permanent ones. But under our FEMA deed, we're not supposed to have any permanent structures. So our question to them is, are benches really a permanent structure? So
Just so I'm clear, Athena, on what we're talking about specifically for this grant, it would be the vetch removal that this grant would be paying for. Is that correct?
yeah, we had actually put in our budget and our proposal to do more removal, the Japanese knotweed, and that would be at
Right.
manual herbicide and maintenance, removal of the crown vetches, what I've been talking about. And then also habitat creation, planting more trees, and arranging for planting trees and shrubs, and then constructing and installing nest boxes, and benches. So our whole budget, including all of those activities.
Thank you. That's really helpful. Donna, did you have a question?
Well, I did, but then I sort of moved on from it, but now I have another question. So this is, first of all, I love the idea. I just think that this is a very ambitious plan, in terms of, looking at it, from the recreational fishing and viewing. That is such it's all clay, and I live across the river almost from it, and I've got to tell you, the land just falls in. So
Okay.
I do wonder about that. I think that for me, it's not the price tag so much as I think that, reclaiming the land and getting what you're, getting it back to a place that's a little more wild and a little more native is probably, that's my comment. It's a very ambitious proposal. And then also, I note that Eric was the person who was originally listed on the grant and that he was planning to retire. So I'm assuming that you're the point person now, Athena?
Yeah, I worked with the team to write the application, but Ella Wise is the new planning director. And so she's been on now for 2 months and has been attending and leading our MVP team meetings. And she's on board with the grant and has been thoroughly versed in it. And I understand your concerns around the fishing. What we'd really like is just a viewing point. So maybe we can work with Conservation Commission and not use it as a fishing point, but as a viewing, and because the passive recreational benefits of the whole project area are really good anyway, in terms of recreation opportunity.
Absolutely, they absolutely are. I just think that if you're going to when you take out that knotweed, and it's just a mess in there. It's just a tangled knot mess. And when that comes out or goes down, you're going to have something that's going to ensure that that bank doesn't fall in. Because I've lost 30 feet of property from my backyard on the Green River. I'm telling you, I know wherefore I speak. But anyway, otherwise, aside from, I think that you might have problems with that. I really like the idea of getting rid of the invasives. So thank you.
Yeah, it's really terrible, and particularly where we've been planting all the trees, it's really becoming an issue because it's a wonderful project. It's been a fabulous project, and we've got a bunch more trees to plant this spring, and we have 4 more planting days.
Thank you, Jack.
So Athena, you started to mention, you mentioned a $6,000 number. Can you, obviously you're aware that we've gotten a lot of asks and you alluded to it. Are you saying the 6,000 would be used under contractual cost and you would still need the $2,400 in the other line items on the budget? And then what does $6,000 look like? How effective will you guys be able to be in that number? Just curious if you could paint us a little bit of a picture.
Yeah, under Chris's bid to us, that would be a 3-year phase plan for wiping out the vetch. So he'd do a spraying and we would do some hand pulling of the vetch, mostly spraying the first year, and same thing for years 2 and 3.
Thank you.
And I don't know if, I think I attached his proposal to my application. I apologize if I did not, but I can
Yeah,
certainly forward that to you.
We have it,
You-
Athena. We have
Okay,
it.
good.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
And then we do have Peter, and Peter's supposed to be on. I apologize. We weren't again sure that we were going to be on so early, but Peter got us some Franklin Conservation District funds for 4190. And also he just got a Guiding Star Grange grant for $3,182. So that will allow us to get, for his labor anyway. And we do have additional trees that were awarded through CRC that we're going to try to plant this spring and summer. So at least we'll have more trees to plant through that as well. Our project through MVP does end on June 30th, and we'll have all of the trees that we have remaining to plant through the spring, and we'll have those done in the spring. So altogether, we'll have like 700 plants that will be planted by the spring. We've already done 500, the trees.
So Athena, I'm wondering if there is any way to be more specific about the way the money would be spent. Like, I'm just going to throw something out that, like if you knew putting in a bench was going to be $2,000, that would be $2,000 worth. Do you know what I mean? If you could be a little bit more specific about the other 14,000, where it would actually go, what it would look like.
In our original proposal, the bulk of the funding was to purchase more native species and trees, and then to also to cover Peter's design and labor. And also his youth team, his crew, the youth climate action Franklin County. They are paid workers through Peter's program.
Okay, so it would be more to pay Peter, and then also to pay for trees and
Yep,
stuff.
because him and his crew would build the benches, because they've been working on designing the benches, and the benches each benches runs from like $300 to $400, depending on the bench that they were designing. They did a presentation at our last meeting, which was really neat. And we really like to involve the youth team. They've been with us for the whole project right now since the beginning. And then Peter's labor, and then he's got some other crew people that he also pays. And they will also do hand removal of a lot of the invasives that are there and cannot be herbicide managed, particularly after they spray and they start growing back again. He has been hand pulling them around the trees that we've been planting. So that would continue. And then the purchase of additional trees. And we do outreach. We'll help them with outreach, and I'll do the grant management, but other things like that. And then he originally wanted to also build nest boxes and install those around. And then, that will be the whole amount of the money.
Thank you.
Athena, if we were to, I'm looking at your timeline, and if we were to look at this as being a project that we might support over a number of years as a possibility, would require another application to come to us, et cetera, what would be the things that would be first that would, let's say 2026 into 2027, what would that be that you would be spending these funds on?
If we were fully funded, we would order the trees first. We'd start arranging for volunteers to help plant the trees and shrubs, and that's a whole outreach exercise. And then constructing and installing the next boxes. We would want to work with Chris if we got the funding for the vetch removal. That would probably be coming that first year too. I believe if we get our funding in July, he can do some spraying toward the end of the summer. And we'd have to check with him on that, but I believe that would be part of the proposal. And obviously you can't spray during the later fall or winter. And then so the additional spraying would start again when the weather warms up and it's less rainy. And then that would continue for the 3 years of the funding.
Okay, what I'm trying to get at is if we were to partially fund you, and you would be coming back, let's say, for next year as well, which things would be in 2026, 27, and then you would be coming back and saying, we did X, Y, and Z, and now we're coming back to do the next level?
If we are only partially funded and if it's under like 10,000, our priority would be to get rid of the vetch. And that would be the 3-phase application of herbicides.
Thank you. That's helpful. Thank
Yeah.
you. Are there other questions?
Sorry, I didn't understand. Sorry, I just.
That's okay. I totally get it.
So I love this. I can see the picture of this beautiful place. And then I don't know why my brain goes there, but then I see kids fishing, and then I see kids jumping in the river, and then I see the viewing area becoming maybe, a trashed area because people come and bring their stuff and leave it. And I don't know what kind of plan there is to be sure that this does not become a problem for the city in that regard. And also not become a place where every sign says, no this or no that.
Right.
Like, I'm not sure how that gets managed. And I don't know.
Well, I mean, there are already people that bring their mobile homes there or their trucks and they sleep there. There's several regular people who encamp there overnight, which isn't supposedly allowed, but they do it. And there are some trash issues, but mostly, I mean, we've been working there for, the whole year, and there's not a lot of trash. There is a trash can that sometimes gets overflowed because, again, the people that are there and overnight will stuff their trash in and it does overflow. And we don't want to burden DPW. I work with DPW a lot, and they're already overstretched. So that is a concern, and we would try to work with DPW to manage that. And I do definitely relate to the concern over people swimming in there. But if you go there now, you can see all the trails that go down to the river. So I'm assuming there are people that go down there to swim or utilize the river for other purposes. So there's not a lot we can do about that. But I agree that it would be a concern and we would need to somehow manage that. The idea of being able to have a fishing hole there, though, is really awesome because the Green River only has one other location for fishing. That's like a regular place for people to go fishing. So,
Donna.
Becky, I feel your pain, and as having been a member of the Recreation Commission for 12 years now or so, there is no place and no thing that you can do that you don't worry about these things. I mean,
yeah,
we mourn over the graffiti at Poet Seat Tower and think about how are we going to get it off without ruining that place. And it's, I guess this thing that I've internalized over the years is just that you can either not have nice things or you can just keep on doing things that you want to see done and hope for the best. But I know how you feel, believe me.
Yeah, I'm hoping we haven't had any damage to trees. There used to be people go do donuts around the grass area and the meadow area, and that kind of stopped once we started planting the trees. So people do seem to be respecting it, and hopefully they the more people that can come down there. There are a lot of dog walkers, and hopefully we can get more kids playing down there and doing Frisbee. I mean, that's the whole goal of having it, because it's a half mile from downtown, and it's a great little neighborhood area to be having passive recreation activities.
Travis?
Yeah, I was just going to add that since that property is managed by the Conservation Commission, the ongoing maintenance and any issues that pop up would be the Conservation Commission's responsibility, I guess, to deal with that. And it is great that like DPW, there are multiple conservation properties where DPW helps out, like at Griswold, DPW plows the parking lot there, and this trash can, and but just wanted to point out, like, long term, the Conservation Commission would be the body who would be in charge of that.
Yeah. Well, we would certainly work to address those concerns and work with DPW, and we may have to scale back. I mean, if there's so many questions around the fishing area, then that could not happen. Yeah. And we would certainly work with the CONCOM about all those.
Jessica?
Hi. I just wanted to add that we had the trash topic come up on another one of our conservation properties, and we did talk about the possibility of organizing volunteer days to help clean up the areas. And in regards to the, putting up signs and having it be like, know this, know that, there are opportunities for more kind of positively framed signs like restoration in progress, please stay off restoration, or something like that, that creates more of a appreciation for the work that's going on. And I feel like when people see something improving over time, that, it's of course not for everybody, but I think that there is more of appreciation for your space and a connection to space. So hopefully that would be something that would be reflected as this restoration progresses.
We do have a project sign there as you enter into the area. We could also add more signage, and we have a great volunteer. We've had over 100 volunteers volunteer to plant the trees. So that is something we could certainly manage and do the call out for volunteers to help clean up.
Okay, are there any other questions for folks involved with this project? Then I thank you all very, very much for coming. We appreciate it. You're welcome to stick around for the next one if you want, or go have dinner. I mean, your choice.
Okay. Thank you very much. And I did want to recognize that Peter Wackernackel is over our youth crew and our youth team. He just joined, and I apologize that we didn't plan in more in advance. And then also Nancy Hazard has been involved, and Nancy Hazard is with Greening Greenfield, and she's been a primary leader and a volunteer with our team since the beginning of our grant as well.
Thanks, Athena.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay, Jordy, you're up. The way we are working this is we're not expecting that there would be a presentation. You've given us a proposal. What we are doing is asking questions in regard to that proposal and trying to get an understanding of what the words on the paper mean.
Okay.
So I'm going to open this up for the members of the committee to ask questions in regard to this proposal. Are there any in the room or online? Okay, I will start it then, because I do have one. I've been looking at this question of partial funding. It is, I don't know what we're going to do, but the fact is that we have 3 times as much request as that we have money. So I'm looking for some idea of if we can't give you the full amount, but we'd like to support this and perhaps support it over a period of time, if that's a and that might be a possibility. What would be, what would the funds that you would get be used for, assuming that they are not the full 65,000?
I think, as I said in my response on question 7, it really depends on what the magnitude of the shortfall is. If the shortfall is a $5,000 shortfall, then the historic markers, would possibly be something that would go on, to be deferred for another time. If the shortfall was, significantly larger than that, and I'm going to pull a number out of my hair because I'm not talking to Renaissance builders or other contractors that we might use right now, but although a lot of the facade work proposed here involves the windows on the Franklin Pond block, that is I think it's 10 windows above the Magpie Pizza location there. It also involves improvements to all of the aspects of the primarily the retail facade. So that would be the Catalpa Coffee, the soon to open Bears Den Bar in the old Seymour location, Magpie, and the Mana House Korean restaurant. All of those have historically significant facades that we would be doing work on that lower story. So that's a smaller number than the number to replace those many very large architectural windows. So that's another thing that might get deferred by us. And, we might, instead of doing that in the way that will set it up for its next, 10 or 20 years, we might approach that with our, individual handyman contractors and, do triage on them. The thing that is really at the core of this is the replacement of those architectural windows. As it said in the application, we were actually approved and funded by the city of Greenfield back in 2009 to do very significant facade work. And we performed the work, budgeting in the money from what was then a community development block grant related thing. I have, long email threads that say it would be funded. And then it turned out that although several other buildings in town were funded under those grants, the what is now the Hawks and Reed and the Pushkin building, the technicality was not discovered on theirs. And so I wish them well that they got their money, but the technicality was discovered as the checks were being prepared for us, which was that because the money was derived from the state, it came at prevailing wage. And we could not prove all of the, multiple bids and prevailing wage that the state had required. So we've been looking to replace those windows for 16 years, and when we were forced to pivot at the 11th hour on that and employ methods that would essentially stabilize as best we could the 19th century windows that were there, but we're kind of running out of rope for that. If there's no funding here, then, we're going to have to consider either one more time trying to stabilize those with very intermediary measures, or approaching them in a way that is not true to what this project has been, which is, 3 historical award-winning buildings in the center of downtown, acting as an example and as a magnet for that kind of work. So we are not under any obligation to do the work in a historical way because the tax credit recapture period has expired a decade ago. But we would like to, proceed in that historical and aesthetic and honorable way. So that's kind of the 3 tiers of the stuff that's in there. There's the placards. There's the general retail facades, which definitely need, in the technical term, they need some love, and then there's the larger number of those 10 very large windows. So
Thank you.
if that gives you a sense of where these things might go, we're going to upkeep our property and exist in the real world if this is not funded, but we will not be able to do what we set out to do and what Greenfield set out to do with us, 15 years ago.
Thank you. That's helpful. Donna?
Hi, thank you. So I was looking at the windows above Magpie. It actually looks like there are 12 of them. And also looking at, let's see, Exhibit A, which looks to be Pella windows that would fit into those slots.
Right.
Okay, so if I'm correct in that, then my question is, these are replacement windows. I'm sure that they're very, like in line with the historical character. But have you looked into having the windows that you have rehabbed by a professional, like a restoration?
That is what we did 16 years ago when the money to do the work in a, forgive the loose language, but in a more high-end way was not forthcoming at the 11th hour. And what we actually did there was we got some very inexpensive replacement windows for that size window and put them as interior storm windows behind each one of those. And thank you for correcting me that there's a dozen, not 10. I'm a little at 6s and 7s because I thought this meeting was at 7:00. I was busy getting ready, and I just happened to check my email and saw Anna's wonderful reminder. So here I am. So inside of those 12 windows, there are inexpensive single pane storm windows, which we use to create a good, environmental, energy efficient envelope for the apartments that are behind all of those windows. And then with the actual historical windows on the outside, we took out every single one of those sashes. So 24 sashes, set them up on benches, reglazed them, repainted them, took apart their frames, took out the sash ropes, replaced the sash ropes. But it's only good for so long with things that are that old, that large, that heavy. And so we're back where we came from, and we'd like to do it right. That's, guess what I want to say. And the quote that we asked Pella for was a quote that would let us get rid of the inexpensive interior windows behind the historic windows, so that the tenants weren't dealing with two sets of windows to even open their window, and and less noticeable perhaps, but the properties of light from the outside, people look at it and there's how many windows are there in there? So by getting a insulated glass thermal barrier window that actually also conforms to the arched shape of those spaces, which is part of what makes them expensive, because it becomes then not just custom in rectilinear dimensions, but it becomes custom in terms of doing curved millwork. That's where we would hope to end up, is in a simplified way there. But otherwise, we are back to the drawing board of kind of trying to keep it together with more moment to moment means.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, hi, Jordy. It's Becky George. How are you?
Oh, hello, Becky George.
Hi.
Are you? Oh, you're very small in the corner of my screen there. Okay. Hello? Hello?
I turned myself on and then I turned it off.
Oh, okay.
So there's the Allen block and there's the Pond block. If
Yeah.
you were funded in part, would you be able to do one year and one another? Or are you dedicated to doing it all at once?
I don't think anybody's dedicated to doing it all at once. But as I said, there are three pieces to this. There's putting up plaques that can happen at any time.
Right.
It's something that we've wanted to do for a while, and I think is a good thing to let people understand what happened there and hopefully to motivate other people to do it. And then there's working on the retail storefronts of all three of those buildings. And that could happen by itself at any time. And then there's replacing the dozen windows finally in the correct way in the pond block. And that could happen by itself. So, I mean, I guess the answer is, is that if, and I don't have the numbers in front of me, I'm not agile enough to break out the budget, but the significant part of the budget is those upper story windows. So, but those three tasks are discrete and divisible.
Jack?
Yeah, so I just had a quick question. So the Renaissance Builders, which is the 83,587 quote, has another source of funding for 22,554.
Right.
Is that a grant? Where is that funding coming from?
No, it's my it's my understanding, first of all, that the committee wants to see us have some skin in the game, and I also understand that the committee has limited funds, and so for both of those reasons, that funding is coming directly from us, from Spike Segundo, as is any overage, and as is the administration of the project. So there won't be a project manager, there won't be a grant manager there. That we will provide that in kind.
Thank you.
So, behind those windows, so then in the interior of the building,
Yeah.
I'm just curious how much of that is residents and how much of that is businesses?
Behind those windows is 100% residents.
Okay.
And one of the things, and well, at the risk of being the person that reads their PowerPoint to people who are looking at their PowerPoint, but in our application, we've said there are multiple places in the CPC's mandate, which is, to create housing and to create, the aspects that housing provides downtown. And, when we arrived at that space, it was vacant, derelict space, and we've created 7 units of housing downtown in these buildings, and there are 4 units behind those windows per se.
And I just want to say that I've been in one of them and I love it.
Yeah, there's sometimes I wish I could live there too. Thank you for the compliment.
Are there further questions? Okay, then we want to thank you very much, Jordy, for being here tonight. And we look forward to discussing all of these proposals more. So I thank you all very much for attending. Anna, do we have any old business that needs to come up? Okay. Then with that, the next meeting will be March 19th in this room at 5 p.m. This will be our and we just lost the light again. And this, okay, there we go. Okay, we're back, sort of. Okay.
All right.
Everything's on a timer.
I
Okay.
was going to say, are they motion sensor lights and you've all been just too quiet?
And okay, and that will be our public hearing. And Anna will be sending out something very shortly so that we have that information. If between now and the 19th, any of you would like to give us any further information based on the questions that we asked, please feel free to do so.
What's that date again?
The 19th. The 26th is our next regular meeting. The 19th is going to be our public hearing, and that will be here in this room. And then on the 26th, we will have our deliberations. Okay. So with that, I will entertain a motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Although since we got people on, we have to do it right. Okay. All right. Let me get the list. Okay. Becky,
Yes.
Donna,
Yes.
Wisty,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Travis,
Yes.
Jack.
Yes.
And I'm a yes. Okay. Thank you all very, very much for attending this meeting. We appreciate your time.